a lot of people look up to you and look up to like all of the things you've done, whether it is body recovery or whether it's live rescue. What kind of legacy do you want to leave when you're gone?
Well, I had a lot of time to think about this a few months ago when it didn't look like I was going to make it. And they originally thought I would not see 2024. So I got a lot of time to think about that. And I thought, well, at this point, my legacy's already been written. What I've done is what I've done. But I still really enjoy teaching. I like helping people. My dad always instilled it in me that you always help your fellow man if at all possible. I remember one time when we were going to the beach, him and I and a friend, we were going to ride some motorcycles. I think it was like 15, and shoot some guns and just have a boys' weekend out. Yeah. And my sister was in nursing school, and she had to, as one of her projects, do a first aid class, a major first aid class, trauma stuff and trauma triage and everything. And so my dad volunteered me and my friend and himself to be involved in this first aid class. I'm like, sure. Sounds like, how could you not, have that as a benefit to your life? So we did. The next weekend, we're doing this boys' weekend down at the beach. And we're coming around the corner in his van with the motorcycle in the back. And two cars are skidding to a stop. They just hit head on at 60 miles an hour each. And we're the first ones on scene. So we got to, I'm like, I'm a kid. There's blood and destruction everywhere. Yeah. And my dad's like, get the first aid out of the kid and go, let's go. And we just went to work. And only being 15 or 16 or whatever it was, at first it was, and then he said, get the first aid kit. And he just barked out some orders. And by God, when my dad barked out an order, you did the order. Yeah. And I went and got the first aid kit, and it immediately, all that stuff we had just learned just came, and we just started doing it. And I remember there was a deceased dog, and there was one guy that was really messed up. But anyway, we gave all the first aid we could, and then until the paramedics got there, they took over. They're like, okay, not, hey, thanks or anything. It was just, get out of our way. So we did. Well, I was a photography student in school, so I got my camera so to shoot and snap pictures. But the whole thing was, the cops are like, why did you do this and this and this and this? People could sue you. And my dad's like, yeah, I don't think about that. I think about, these people were in need. They were hurting. Right. We had to do what we had to do. So, it was instilled at me at a very early age. Do what you can do. And I've always loved helping people. So I see that in my training as well as training people. I love to help them become better, safer divers. With good training, this is the safest sport in the world. I have almost 12,000 cave dives. And I think it's as safe as anything else. But without training, it's a gamble. You're just rolling the dice and hoping you don't get snake eyes or crap out or whatever. I'm not a dice player, but so I want people to be prepared. I want people to have fun, safe cave dives and not risk their life. There was one guy used to come here all the time from Texas, and he was one of those thrill seekers. He wouldn't dive for several months, and he'd show up. Well, I want to go to the end of the cave, and I want to do this tunnel you were telling me about. And I remember I always said to him, Gary, don't make me come in there and get you. And at one point he said, I'm going to make that as a t-shirt. Ed says, don't make me come in there and get you. So, I love helping people along their journey to, a long life of cave diving instead of being one of those guys that goes for 2 years and has a come to Jesus moment and quits. Yeah. So, I'm always going to help people when I can. I'm going to do this as long as, I'm healthy enough to keep putting on gear and going. I remember when I was going to the Dominican Republic, there was a guy that was fairly new to the cave diving world. And he asked me, wow, this sounds dangerous. How much do they pay you for this? And I said, they don't pay me. It's volunteer. He's like, oh, screw that. And I said, I do it so that this family needs, these two families need closure. And he said, well, last minute trip to the Dominican Republic, that's got to be expensive. I said, yeah, it was almost $5,000 for my ticket. And he said, who pays that? I said, I did. And he's like, who's paying your hotel? I said, well, I think somebody's picking that up, but if not, I am. Well, what about this? What about that? And I said, I just paid. Don't worry about that. So, I didn't worry about it. When it was all done and we got home, the son of the first victim, he had come up to me after, I think it was after the first day, after we'd gotten cleaned off, and we had this whole decontamination thing that we had to go through. We'd have to stand there in our gear, and they'd spray us down with pressure washers. Right. And then you'd move over, and they had this bucket, this 55-gallon drum of disinfectant and a scrub brush. And there you got all these guys scrubbing you down. And then you have to go back and get pressure washed again. And right after I got done talking, got dressed, talked to the mayor, I just felt this tug from behind, and it was this guy, I don't know, he was mid-20s, I think. And he said, I know I'm not supposed to talk to you, but I just wanted to say thank you for getting my father out. And I said, you're welcome. And I said, here's my card. I said, when I'm done, I said, you give me a call. I'll talk to you as long as you want. And I remember he called me, and he just kept thanking me. And he wanted me to tell him how it went, but I didn't want to get into too many horrible details about the condition of his father. But I said, did you get your wedding ring back? I did. I can't believe it. Thank you. And he said, I want to pay you. And I said, I don't take money. And he said, can I at least get your airline tickets? And I said, you can. I said, you don't have to. I said, you're under no obligation. And he said, I kind of am. And I went, how so? And he said, that's the way my father raised me. So it was very touching. And I know that's the way I was raised, and I probably would have done it the same, which is probably why it touched me so much. But I said, well, Stacy will give you the wire transfer information if you want, and she'll send you a copy of the receipt for the ticket. Right. And I said, do not pay. I said, you do not have any obligation to pay that at all. But I said, if you do, please do not pay $1 more than what it says.
Yeah.
So